Hey you, welcome to The Mess and the Magic. I'm Casey, confidence coach, alignment alchemist, and your host / hype woman for the real, raw, soul-stretching conversations you didn't know you needed. This podcast is for passionate dreamers doing the inner work and building a big life. The ones navigating healing, leadership, relationships, self-trust, visibility, success, and all the beautiful chaos in between. Here, we talk about the mess, the identity shifts, the breakdowns, the moments that didn't make it to Instagram. And we honor the magic, the breakthroughs, the clarity, the becoming. Because it's never just one or the other. It's always both. So if you're tired of pretending it's all perfect, and you're ready for truth, depth, and the kind of conversations that leave you feeling seen, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome to the Mess and the Magic podcast. I'm Casey Jade, I'm your host, and today's guest is not just a powerhouse in the money world. She's someone who's walked beside me as a sister, a coach, a mentor, and a friend. Lisa Chastain is a woman I trust with my truth, not just because of what she teaches, which is revolutionary, but because of who she is. She's the kind of woman who will look you in the eyes and remind you that you're not broken. You've just never been taught how to own your power with money. Lisa has walked through fire, from divorce, reinvention, rebuilding her entire life and business from the ground up. And through it all, she's stayed anchored in generosity, honesty, and feminine leadership. What's her message? Stop budgeting, start living. And she lives it. Whether you're financially thriving or you're in your what the fuck is happening chapter, this conversation is going to shift something inside you. So let's get into it. Lisa Chastain, welcome to the Mess and the Magic.
That was beautiful, Casey. Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here today. I know that I was saying about what your motto is stop budgeting, start living. That is actually the title of your new book that you released. How excited are you?
I'm really grateful. I'm really, really grateful. I'm getting some great feedback about the book.
What's your favorite thing? I know this is your second book.
Yeah.
What did you learn in between the first book and the second book that reflects in the new one?
Well, the first book, I was writing the first book from a place of reinvention. I was going through my divorce and writing the book at the same time. So I see my first book as it was what I needed to say in so many ways to myself. And also I know it's helped a ton of women along the way. So my come from was a lot different from the first book to the second book. I've taken what I've learned over the last decade and really honestly through my entire life, and I've poured it into the second book. And I will say I'm much more courageous in what I share in the second book. I got over myself and my ego and my image conversations. And from what I'm hearing, the stories that I'm sharing about my experiences in life are resonating.
It's amazing that you're able to share from truth and vulnerability like that. And like you mentioned before, you said you've gone through divorce. I know you've gone through business resets, financial scarcity. How do you bring compassion to yourself in the middle of going through all of that healing journey?
My clients and the women that I've been on this journey with are the ones that push me into compassion and encourage me to stay grounded and real and open and honest. Because so my clients come to me with shame and guilt and fear, and they don't have anywhere to go where they feel like whatever they share is going to be okay, whether it's $2,000 in debt or $200,000 in debt or not wanting to be in a marriage or whatever financial mistake, bankruptcy, all the things that loom in people's shame bucket for finance, they come to me with. And the only way to be with the people that I love, which are people in general, is with compassion.
I love that. I know in the book, you really hold space for both chaos and choice as women reclaim their emotional freedom with money. Why do you think so many people learn to stay small with money in the first place?
Well, I know why. It's inherited. Women historically have not, Casey, we have women in history who have played really big and we champion those women, but that's a very small percentage of women on the planet. And you have to, I'm looking at the president of Mexico right now, who on both sides of the coin is being celebrated for her courageousness and also being really, like, people are saying some really hurtful things about her specifically. And if she was a man, would that be the case? I don't think so. So women have just been socialized differently. And we've been socialized to play small, be the servants, be the people, the supporters, looking at the different supporter kind of careers out there. And so it may not be so directly told to us, play small, but indirectly we're getting those messages across the board. And God, so 2 days ago, I know this is a tangent, but I think it speaks into this. 2 days ago, it was Prime Day.
Hmm.
And there were messages all over social media about don't spend, don't spend, don't spend, don't send. Well, what the subconscious message of that is play small. You can't afford it. You should be putting your money in different places. So much judgment
So much
about
judgment.
money. And part of me, which I didn't, but part of me was like, fuck it, spend money, enjoy it, love your life. Because if you can't do that, what are we doing here on this planet?
Well, exactly. And that's one of the things that I love about what you teach about money is you don't teach budgets, which I feel like really constrains people and wants to put people in a box and still keep playing small. And another thing I heard you say a little while ago was all the history of women with money and the fact that we were not able to make financial decisions until a few decades ago. So I feel like that's really shaped us. And now we're getting to have these more powerful conversations about money in our lives and figuring out what feels good for us to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
What's important to you about not budgeting?
I don't like the word altogether because it's been shoved down our faces and crammed down our throats for years and years and years as the magical piece to money that you have to have a budget. If you're going to be financially responsible, you have to have a budget. First of all, I don't like anybody telling me what to do. So I wrote it basically as a fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what I have to do. And also, really, because if it really was the magical solution, why do we still have the majority of Americans still living paycheck to paycheck?
Well, and
So,
that's where the real work starts, right?
yeah. So I just take it off the table altogether and I ask people, well, what if you didn't have to budget? Then what? And people would look at me like, what? What do you mean? Well, what are other ways? Well, for women specifically, if we didn't have to budget, well, we wouldn't have to budget if we were making enough money, first of all. So I'd much rather talk about making more money, having more money, enjoying money, being free with money than budgeting altogether. So that's why I just don't even entertain the conversation. And I know I've said the word budget probably 10 times in the last 2 minutes. So it still exists, but it's not the magic. It's not the magic solution that people are looking for.
Well, and I think that one thing that pops up frequently is the fact that we were raised with parents who either didn't have enough, had just enough. So, what we've been taught up until now is that that's what our money story has to look like.
Yeah.
So, what does it look like to unwrite somebody's money story and have them come into their power in their money personality in their life with their finances?
With great compassion, listen, whoever is listening to this, your parents did the best they could do. Even really shitty parents did the best that they could do with the resources they had available to themselves. I truly believe that. Did they do a great job? I don't know, but they did what they could do. And in order for their realities to make sense, they have to decide at some point that they were just doing what they had to do to make right with their lives. And they passed that down generation after generation after generation. And I'm a product of that. I had my parents fight for what they had to fight for, do what they had to do. And in order for them to make sense of all of it, they did their best to pass down what they could do, what they could to pass down to us, if anything at all. So first of all, stop blaming your parents. Stop it. It doesn't help anybody or anything. And you're not in a responsible conversation if you're blaming anyone. So full stop on that. And then if there's no one to blame, take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask yourself, well, what am I responsible for right now? How can I turn this around now? Because as a grown ass woman, and if we're speaking to women in America, and there's a lot of women all over the planet who have the same freedoms that we do, what are we doing blaming anyone? Men, parents, anyone, the system, the patriarchy. Come on now. In order for us to reclaim our power, we have to take radical responsibility for our lives. Period.
Period. How did you start taking radical financial responsibility in your life? I know you share a lot about your story in both of your books, and I think even more in the second one. But
Mhm.
just for everybody who doesn't know you already, like, can you share a little bit of the mess and the struggle that really shaped how you came to this amazing career field?
I was in total denial, Casey. I am a people pleaser. I am a money personality. I'm a delusional Delilah. Success is, yeah, delusional Delilah, shout out. Um, which is the dreamer money personality in my world. And success is really important to me. I didn't want people to see the mess. And so I played a pretty good job, did a pretty good job, I think, for a certain amount of time of not letting anybody in and being really fake, to be honest with you. Put a fake smile on my face, wear the suits, show up, be a people pleaser, be someone who doesn't rock the boat, don't speak my truth. And I was in a lot of pain. I was in a lot of pain. So in neurolinguistic programming, which I'm a trainer in neurolinguistic programming, our unconscious mind's prime directive is to preserve the body. And it got to a certain point where my unconscious mind, which is 95% of it runs our body, it runs our lives, was screaming at me, you cannot do this anymore. You just can't do it anymore. And I can't keep drowning myself in alcohol. I can't keep crying alone at night. My financial results forced me into a new conversation because I wasn't getting financial results. I wasn't making any money in my business. I was draining from my savings account. The feedback was all around me that I was not happy. And thankfully, someone loved me enough to put me into a program, basically not rehab, but a program. I probably could have gone to rehab too, where I was forced for four days to take a long, hard look at my life. And it was the first time I had learned the context and the distinction between victim and responsible. And it changed my life. It didn't happen overnight, but realizing that I can control the narrative. And when I give my power away to blaming anyone other than just looking in the mirror and saying, how am I responsible for this? It opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me. So the mess, which I know the mess and the magic is a great message, that there is magic in the mess. And for me, the magic was, come on, girlfriend, it's time to grow up. It's time to take responsibility. It's time to own your decisions and own the choices that you've made, including marrying a guy that was not good for me. I love him dearly to this day. My heart feels for him. We have a son together, but he wasn't right for me. And I wouldn't let it go because I was more committed to being right than letting go of that relationship.
Mm.
And I think there's so many women that can relate to that. And it took me having the courage to look in the mirror, own my choices, own my experiences, heal from them, doing the work. And it wasn't perfect. It was far from perfect. But I am where I am today because I had the courage to let go of the facade that everything was okay.
And how long have you been on this journey? Like what's the timeline look like? Like how long has this taken you to really like reframe all these beliefs and now lead so many people into shifting that in their own lives?
Yeah. I left my first career in 2011. So it's 2025. So 14 years ago, I left my first career, which was a very nice, cushy, safe job, which was also holding like kind of like the glue that was holding all the things together that weren't working. So as long as I had my career and my paycheck, everything was fine. And when that went away, everything came crashing down around me because I had nowhere to go. I was at home all the time drinking wine with my 3-year-old toddler. I'm not proud of that. It's what I did. My family uses alcohol to cope. That's a familial pattern. So
Uh-huh.
didn't realize that at the time. So I drowned myself in wine and I got busy and volunteered at my kids' school and just kept running the everyday programming. That was in 2011. And in 2014, things in my marriage were falling apart. My ex-husband had lost his job. He had started drinking heavily. He wasn't coming to bed at night. It was not good at home. And here I was, little Polly Perfect outside looking in. She has a perfect life. She's got a diamond ring. She's got a Rolex. She's got a kid. She's got a house. She's got a dog. It's all perfect. And I was dying inside. I mean, I was frustrated and angry, and I had no outlet other than going out to the clubs or going to a girls' weekend and getting shit faced and doing drugs and doing whatever I could do to numb out and then go back to my life at at the end of the
Right?
weekend, go back to my life. And so it was really, really painful. So first the pain was the first indicator that something was off, and then the financial results. Casey, I had $100,000 saved in my 401k. $100,000. I was making $54,000 in my job. I had saved, an emergency reserve of about 3 months. I thought I had done all the right things. I had a budget. My ex-husband had a good income. It was like an $80,000, $90,000 a year income. I thought that I had things worked out well enough for me to leave my job. And when things started falling apart, it happened really fast because
Uh,
I didn't have the mindset, I didn't have the tools, didn't have the familial support to figure out like what the fuck is going on right now. Looking back, it felt like a whirlwind. So I had to go back to work because we were failing financially. That's if I can keep going, but that's where it started, me realizing, okay, I got to go back to work. I got to figure this out, but I was still blaming my husband for everything.
mhm.
I threw him into the personal development workshop because he was the one that needed to get fixed. This is April of 2014. I was like, "Whoa, you're the one that needs to go. You're the problem." And he looked at me. He's like, "Well, if I'm going, you're going." And I was like, "All right, fine." But I was just going to go to placate him.
Mhm.
And the workshop didn't change my life. I changed my life, but it was through the opportunity to learn and grow and be around other people. But it's taken till now where I can actually look in the mirror and really like who I am and not be perfect.
Well, and the victim versus responsible conversation is such an important one. A lot of times, especially on social media, all we see is blame and external locus of control stuff. So
Yep.
when you went to that workshop, like was that the catalyst for you to dive into tools and like learn how to reshape that? What helped you really realize that it was a victim conversation and that you wanted to become more into a responsible conversation?
I will say that I was probably still in denial going through that program. There was still, listen, if you're going to for lack of a better term, reprogram yourself, if you're going to do the work, it's not going to happen in a 4-day workshop. So that was the first thing. I saw the facilitator in the room. Her name was Sylvia. And I looked at her and she was in her late 60s, like in great shape, had her shit together, and she controlled a room of 80 people. And I
Mm,
looked at her in front of the room and I saw her teaching, and she's got such compassion and love in her heart. And I looked at her and I said, I want to be like her when I grow up. And so what kept me in the work was a
wow.
vision that I wanted to be like Sylvia.
Think I ever knew that.
Hmm.
I love that. It's interesting because you're my Sylvia. And I've
Hmm.
always looked up to you for all of it, and I wanna be just like Lisa when I grow up and help and impact and do all the things. So thank you, Sylvia, wholeheartedly for helping Lisa figure out what she wanted to do in life because you are such a powerhouse,
Thank
and I'm
you.
so grateful to know you.
Thank you. You know what Sylvia did that no one else did for me that I was willing to listen to Sylvia?
Huh.
Was that she called me out on my shit.
That's what I love about you too, but that's the real work, and that's what I feel like you get past all of this fluff. All of our time, I have coached with you for years now, and in all of our time, when I slip into a victim conversation, you always call me out, and it always feels so good because it never comes from judgment. All of your coaching comes from curiosity and holding space for the things that I already know to be true,
Yep.
and that is so powerful.
You have the answers.
We're just holding space.
We're holding space. And what Sylvia did for me, and she's done this for hundreds and hundreds, I mean, she trains all over the world, is that it was that great care and compassion where I knew that she was coming from love. And
Mhm.
I had lived in judgment for so long. It was an exhale. I needed that exhale that someone loved me, didn't even know me. But that's what broke the hard facade around me, was that there's this person that doesn't really know me that I can feel cares enough and that I'm safe enough. I'm not being judged. That gets to, that can help. I can drop my guard around her and say what I need to say and tell the truth. And I had never been in an environment like that before. So that's when things cracked wide open for me. And I kept leaning into the work. And then I've had other facilitators along the way, other trainers, other coaches along the way that have created that kind of safety for me. And so I aspire to now just create that same safety for other people.
I absolutely love that. What now that you've gone through all of these different amazing realizations, experiences to get you to where you are now, what's your favorite ritual if you feel like you are not feeling great during the day, maybe some limiting beliefs pop up, because we don't end the journey. It's a
No.
constant journey and it's beautiful and things will pop back up.
Well, the first thing I do is I stay in the room. And what I mean by that is there's two things. So you've been to Big Magic, yes, which is a
Yes. If
really
you didn't watch
incredible.
episode 1, we hit on Big Magic on episode 1 as well, so if you want to go back on that, but it's the powerful retreat that Lisa Chastain and Melissa Blinn held that I got to attend twice, which is
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, so I get so much just for by being a facilitator in the room. That is one way that I keep myself in the work, because in order for me to show up for 12 people, 20 people, 30 people, however many, I need to be in integrity with myself. And
Mm.
I can't, Gail Swift says this, you can't operate from a fragmented mind. And so I need to show up in those rooms whole. So handling my business before I stepped into the room, I just did a team leadership training where I had the privilege of coaching for 3.5 days. So I handled my life before I stepped into the room. I don't bring my life into the room. And that's when I do my best work. So as soon as I step into the room, I drop the ego and I do the work that I need to do. I had so many great breakthroughs on my own. So it's like an onion. The work is never done. And so I humble myself. That's the first thing. The other thing is, Casey, I've just learned how to turn it off. Not everything can be done in a full day. So I'm going to do this podcast episode with you. I'm going to do one last thing for the day. And then I'm going to go home and I'm going to hang out with my husband and turn it off and decompress. That is the best way for me to be able to reset, is just watch a funny show and hang out with my kids. And in the mornings I work out, I stay in nature. So those are my like bookend experiences in the day. Sometimes you just got to call it. Even with a full day, sometimes I got to cancel some appointments and just not do anything. And
But I love
I've
that you
gotten
give
better at
yourself
that.
grace for that, right? Well,
Yeah.
and I heard a lot of boundaries, and you set boundaries for yourself. You know what you need to succeed. You know where you need to show up and where you want to show up outside of your business and all the other things that you have that mean a lot to you. Was that always a process, setting boundaries, or did that start to come naturally as you worked through doing the work?
No, I was a mess. I a legit mess. And let me dial that back for a minute. So I'm a baby of the family. I have an older sister and a twin brother, but I was always treated like the baby. I'm the smallest. I look young. It just naturally, my brother wanted to protect me as the baby. So I was treated as the baby growing up. And I created, notice my language when I'm saying this, because this is the work that I've done to realize how I've created my own reality. It
Wow.
wasn't anyone that did it. I did it. I didn't know why I did it. I know why I did it at the time, or now I know. But as a kid, I'm a twin. I shared a womb. I need to be with someone. I feel like I'm missing a part of myself, not having someone by my side. And so I created these attachments to people and I became who I needed to become in order to be in relationship with those people. It starts with my dad. My dad didn't pay a lot of attention to me unless I was doing the things that he enjoyed. I was always trying to one up my brother and be involved. Women get this. I became who I needed to become in relationship. I wasn't myself, but who I
Hmm.
needed to be in that relationship in order to have the relationship. And so I lost myself along the way doing that in intimate relationships, partnerships, business partnerships. I became that, like a part of that other person's life instead of owning my own life. So no, boundaries did not come until I nearly broke myself. And I write about this experience in my book, in my new book of attracting a very toxic, unsafe person into my life. And it blew up in my face. The whole thing blew up in my face. And I was literally physically not safe. And that's when my boundaries started to create. I started to create boundaries from that point, realizing this is not working.
It's interesting how the universe starts to whisper and then talk to you and then yell at you and then scream at you until you listen to it.
It was really fucking loud. It was really loud. I mean, I had to, with I was a single mom at the time. I had to swallow my pride and ask for help from my ex-husband. I had one friend who, Emily, if you're listening to this, I love you, who was there for me. And in a matter of days, I had to move. I had
Hmm.
just moved into my new condo. I had just sold my house. And in the blink of the eye, it all blew up in my face. This guy just went crazy on me. Crazy. I mean, literally crazy. And I came home and I was like, oh my God, I am not safe and I'm in over my head. And it is a result of not creating boundaries that this has happened.
Would you say that's the messiest piece of your life you think that you've navigated thus far?
By far. The divorce was so messy. It was so messy, financially messy. I was just telling Jimmy, my new husband, I have Casey, I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but to give you an idea of the mess, I was not legally divorced yet. And I got into this new relationship with this guy who was super exciting and like really unstable, but really great sex. And I was like so excited to just be out of my marriage. So I was like, playing this wild child role. I'm still like this mom and have a business and writing a book. It was just crazy, like looking back at it, like, what were you thinking? But I know my unconscious mind was like, keep going. You need to learn these things. These are all lessons. And so, what was the messiest? What was the question? I just started to go through that story.
You said the divorce was the messiest, and then you said
Oh,
that
oh
you were
yeah.
telling Jimmy something.
So I have a bill that I've been paying because I had jumped out of my marriage, not yet legally divorced, but that was happening, separated in this new relationship, and I got pregnant. So Connor at the time, he knows the story. He doesn't know all of the story, but Connor was 7 or 8, and I got pregnant and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This had never happened before. Like I'd never had an unplanned pregnancy before. And I was like, well, all right. Me and this guy had been together like 6 months. And I'm already starting to see patterns from him. And all my friends are telling me, like, this guy is no good for you. And I wasn't listening. My parents, my family, this guy isn't any good for you. I wasn't listening. So I was like tuning all of that out. And then I'm in Florida for a no, was I in Florida? I was in Florida for a mentorship and I had a miscarriage out of pocket. I'm sorry, out of network. I had insurance, didn't have insurance in the state of Florida. So I now get an $8,000, $9,000 medical bill. I'd never lived on my own before. I had always had my parents and then I got married. So now here I'm on my own. I don't have a job. I have a business and a very baby business at that. Like I'm making money and it's going right back out as I'm making it. And then I get slammed with an IRS bill from depleting my 401k. So I had a tax bill because I depleted my 401k to get out of everything to start my business. Like, this is crazy.
Coming from all sides. You're like, what's happening? What's happening?
I hit my knees. And then I called a friend and I was like, what do I do? This is crazy. I'm in the money industry right now and I'm overwhelmed. Well, I have $500 left on that bill because I've been paying it off $50 at a time
Yeah.
for years.
This is the IRS bill?
No, that one's finally paid off, but it's the miscarriage bill.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about
Wow.
the journey. That thing
What
is
a
just,
celebration. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean that was a mess.
Yeah. Well, hey,
And
what about the universe coming in and being like, okay, we're getting real loud and we're going to teach you some lessons here.
I needed the lessons. I
I
needed
love
the
that.
lessons. I needed to
What
be
magic
told.
came out of the messiest piece of that for you?
Jimmy.
Tell us about Jimmy, who I love, by the way. Hi, Jimmy. I love you.
Yeah. Well, I had to move overnight. I had to get away from this guy. The cops were involved for 4 days, back and forth in my condo. He broke in. Like I was just like nearly homeless. So, I mean, that's dramatic, but it was kind of true. So I was staying with a friend and I didn't know what I was going to do. And finally, I got into a new condo. So, God is good. The universe is good. I was in a new condo and I was sitting on the floor in the corner by myself. Connor was at his dad's. And I was just praying because I didn't know what else to do at the time. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have all this stuff at this other condo. And it was like, boom, I heard this voice in my head. It said, call Jimmy. And Jimmy and I had known each other for years. And I knew he was going to the same church I was going to. And I called and reached out for help. So that's the magic. I asked for help and I needed help. And that was an opening for me to realize, like, listen, you don't have to do this alone. I don't have to do this alone.
And how hard was it for you to reach out for support?
Well, I had never really vulnerably, no one really knew I was going through any of that. Like on the outside looking in, people were kind of hating on me for the guy I was dating, but I was like, well, you're all just haters and judgers.
Mm-hmm.
No, like legit, he was not safe. But anyway, asking for help and now just continuing to invest in myself and be vulnerable and share what's really going on. Jimmy's given me the courage to do that. He's been a safe landing for me.
That's amazing. Well,
So
and I
that's a
know that
miracle.
You guys have such a beautiful relationship where you can both come from emotional intelligence, integrity, communication. I've been able to witness how you show up for each other in your relationship for years now.
Mm.
How do you keep such a beautiful love afloat while keeping communication open and not diving into coach mode, like not going into that supporter role in your relationship?
Well, he and I both agreed early on that we weren't going to coach each other. And it really didn't go well. He and I have both very strong personalities. And so it wasn't, I don't invite it in our marriage. I don't want him coaching me and I don't want to coach him. I want to be a loving partner. Also, he and I beat up our marriages, our first marriages. He went through a first marriage. I went through a first marriage. We learned about all the ways that we were being in those marriages that didn't work. And so the thing that keeps us connected is we ask ourselves, do we want to be right or do we want to be married?
That is such a powerful question.
Hmm. And then before I lean in, I ask him, who do you need me to be for you right now? I am not here to save you. He is not here to save me. We are two whole people whose lives work independently of one another. And when he's got something going on, and what I had never done before is I like interviewed Jimmy. It took months for Jimmy to show me who he was, and I had a lot of questions, not insecurities necessarily, but I was watching how he treated his mom. I was watching how his friends treated him. I was looking at who his friends were. I was looking at his community, his network. I was watching how he handled challenges and problems. I was watching who he was with his ex-wife. I was watching who he was with his ex-girlfriend. I paid attention to everything before I jumped in. And it came from a place of, I'm not here to save you. You're good. And we operate that way still today. I have my support system, you being one of them. I have Melissa. I have Gail. When I'm struggling with something, I actually go to you first. I don't go to my husband first
Hmm.
because a lot of it is just those limiting beliefs and emotions that I need to work through and process through. I'm not going to put it on him. He already has enough to deal with.
Having a
Or
strong support system and community, I think, is huge for that. And I love that. I
you.
mean, I've seen a lot of my relationships just turn to he's my best friend and he's my confidant and he's my this and he's my that, when it's so much better and more healthy for you to really establish just roles of partnership, equality, like respect, trust, and leave all of the, just like you said, limiting beliefs and all that stuff to just coming out to all of our friends and our support.
Yeah. Yeah. He is not my everything.
Mm-mm. Well,
I
and you
love
don't want to need anyone. You want to want someone.
and looking at familial history and history of women is that women, if we didn't have access to a lot of things, including rights, we had to rely on men. It hasn't been like that. It hasn't been forever, but in the most recent few decades, 100 years, it was like that. White women specifically had to rely on men.
Hmm.
So we're reimagining relationships right now. And no, you don't have to rely on him for everything. Rely on yourself.
Well, and that, I think it definitely bridges well into moving from the mess to the magic too, because that is such a magical place to be in independence and just be able to have this magical partnership with someone that just feels so aligned and you just get to keep coming back to love and curiosity with each other.
That's it. Love and curiosity. He's mine.
So,
I'm his.
yes, exactly. Well, and you guys always choose each other. And I love seeing that in a relationship. So, what in the next year do you have that's a magical experience that you're really excited about bringing to fruition?
Well, right now I'm working with a new marketing team and they've developed it, a bot. So one thing is, which I kicked off a coaching certification program. So being able to now pour into other women and teach them what I know as a coach and help them become strong coaches is really, really cool. I have this bot, which is going to be really cool and really scalable so people can get to know me in 160 different languages. Like this work can now translate to the rest of the world, which I'm really excited about. And what's next for me is a training and development company
Ooh.
where I'm taking all the tools that I've learned, all the distinctions that I've learned, all the trainings that I've learned. And my vision is here. It's now. It's coming alive as we speak. And that's the magic, is that it's happening and unfolding in a really cool way. And so by this time next year, I'll have a training and development company where we're doing coaching certification, but also I'm doing financial transformational trainings.
And financial emotional intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's going to be so powerful. And I am so honored to be a part of the certification process and to help the other people spread all of the amazing magic that you instill in all of us and really help have that butterfly effect and shift
Mhm.
throughout the universe.
That's the goal.
So, if you were to tell anybody one powerful thing that you've learned along your journey through the mess, into the magic, and beyond, what is one powerful takeaway that you wish you could tell yourself 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Have the courage to listen to yourself and be honest with yourself because you have the answers. You have the
How do
answers.
you how do you listen to yourself? What does that look like for you?
I've had to train myself to do it because for there was a long time where I didn't know how to do it. So having coaches, powerful coaches, ask me powerful questions was the stepping stone into that. Asking me powerful questions and then giving me the space to answer was a segue to that. I journal now. I'm really fast at it now. Like I've learned how to listen to my unconscious mind. It takes work and it takes practice to do that. But the one thing that I can do now is be honest with myself and come from a place of this is just an opportunity to learn something. This isn't a
Mm,
failure. I can just learn from this and grow from it and it'll all work out because it has to. It gets to. The universe is going to figure it out. But a failure is just something to learn from.
absolutely. It shouldn't be a stopping point. It should just
No.
be a moment of learning, pivot, a little transmute here, transmute there.
Mhm.
So powerful.
Yeah.
What would be one ritual that you have in your life right now that you wish that your younger self had?
A ritual. Girlfriend time,
Mm,
not party time. I grew up in a party culture. And so partying was the outlet for me. But my best friend Gail and I, we take walks every couple of weeks, and that's like therapy for me. And so we walk for an hour and a half, and we get it out. She gets it out. I get it out. It's a safe space. We say whatever we need to say. And that is mental health for me. Is having that girlfriend time. She's moving to Chicago, which I'm really sad about. So I'll get to find some new girls to do that with. But that ritual walking is huge for me.
I love that you get to get out in nature. And I have a silly question about the walks.
Yeah.
How early do you go? Seeing as we live in Las Vegas, everybody listening may not be in Las Vegas, but it gets hot during the
Yeah.
summer. How do you keep consistency during the worst weather months?
We it just gets a little earlier as it gets hotter. So we go about 5:30 in the morning.
Just as the sun is peaking.
Yep, watch the sunrise. I'm a sunrise girl. I'd much rather watch a sunrise than a sunset.
I think it depends on the day, but you're right. I think sunrises feel like such new beginnings.
I love sunrises.
I love sunrises.
So I try to catch sunrises as much as I can.
Do you feel like there is a limiting belief that has kept popping up in your life that has been on repeat that you're still working through?
All day, all the time. Gosh, that's such a great question. What's the one that keeps popping up? I worked through a lot of them. Okay, so I look young and the little girl pops up a lot for me.
Mm,
Like, who am I? And then I see other people that are my age and what they're doing, and I'm like, what am I doing? So I mean, on the outside looking in, I'm sure I'm doing a lot, but that little girl conversation catches me a lot. And I have to shift it because I look young and I was called little Lisa growing up. It
mm.
didn't come from nowhere. I could fit in the palm of my dad's hand when I was born. So they picked a small name for me. Like the whole context of my growing up was little. I'm 5 feet tall. So that little girl, I have to work actively to shift that when I see it and feel it pop up because I am powerful.
You are. Thank you for sharing that. I can literally feel that energy. It's so interesting because I've always seen you as so powerful. So you really have done a great job at shifting that. I know it still pops up. And I so many times feel like such a kid. But you know
Uh,
what? I think that I love about both of our little girls is they keep us in play and in fun. and what feels good.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Well, if we were interested in what you have coming up next, is there anything that we can find you where you'd like to share with us, and or where else can we find you?
Yeah, well, keep an eye out for these trainings that'll be coming up next year. I'm really excited for those. Of course, get my new book, Stop Budgeting, Start Living. There are journal prompts at the end of each chapter. So you can get the audio book, but the feedback I'm getting is that the hard copy helps with the journaling prompts. And then event wise, I have Take the Lead coming up. So that's October 9th in Las Vegas, in Lake Las Vegas. And Take the Lead is a whole conversation, not just of myself, but some really other visionary and powerful women. We're having conversations in the room all day long about what it looks like to take leadership, true leadership and responsibility in the areas of your health, your wealth, and your career. It all gets to happen together. So Take the Lead is in Las Vegas, October 9th. And before that, if you go to the Take the Lead website, we're going to be in Tucson having an event there. So I'm speaking in Tucson as well. We'd love to see you there.
Woo! All right, Lee. So
Woo!
if you could leave us with your most magical moment that you've experienced in your life, what's your magic?
Being a mom, not just to Connor, but to Range.
What do you love most about it?
I have nowhere to go but be real, and teenagers keep me on my feet. Honestly, Casey, I have magic all around me. I have the most amazing relationships with you included, and I've worked for it, and I'm really proud of it. So the relationships that I have, the marriage that I have, that's all magic to me, and it didn't happen without work.
Mm,
Just remember that the work is worth it. The work doesn't have to be painful, but work for what is important to you.
I love that. Thank you so much for being on the show. I hope that this was so valuable to many people out in listener land. And I'm super excited to join you at Take the Lead and also at upcoming events, retreats, certification programs. And I just love seeing you grow and thrive. So thank you so much for being here. And we will see you next week on the Mess and the Magic podcast.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste.